And hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Thomas, aka Mr. Warburg. As you can see here, I'm joined by my friend Chris.
What's up?
We're going to be doing a little decade retrospective. Part one here is going to be looking at our favorite movies. We're doing a top 10 format of our movies from the 2010 to 2019. We're going to be going alternating ascending order. So I'll do my number 10, Chris will do 10, then we'll do the 9s, the 8s, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Chris has seen part of my list. I haven't seen his, so he kind of knows what's
I
coming. Except for my
I've
top, he doesn't know.
no, I think I only saw your number one, but you did say you changed things, so I don't know if it's changed. So I kind of don't know anything.
Okay. Okay. We're trying to merge Google Docs and stuff. It makes things very very interesting because at work I can't get on Google Sheets, so I was just dicking around on Excel and then
Did
exporting.
work making you have to work and not do
Yeah.
social or personal business?
God, I can't do any of my social media at work.
Dumb.
Yeah. Kind of, sort of, who knows what list? What list? But yeah, we're doing this live on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Mr. Warburg. It's a good time. You should come follow over there, and then you should follow Chris's stuff. You do twitch.tv/his name. That's below his camera right now. Yep, and the link on YouTube will be in the description and below as well. So, Chris, without further ado, let's get into this.
All right.
So, since you're the guest, what is your number 10 movie of the decade?
All right. So my number 10, I don't think.
Or do we
I don't
want
know if you would have
before we
even
say that? Before we say it, do you want to do any honorable mentions? Because I have 4.
I think let's do honorable mentions at the end.
Okay.
Because I think that'll make our top tens a little bit more. Oh, that's what you have there. Oh, that's what you have there. Type
Okay.
of thing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Just wanted to double check. I didn't ask that before we started. So
Yeah.
number 10. Let's go.
So my number 10, not one that a lot of people I think saw, but I think is a fantastic movie. Liam Neeson, Wolves, Alaska,
I know where you're going.
The Gray. It's a fantastic movie. 2 hours of character development in this suspenseful movie about survival in the Alaskan. There's an Alaskan plane crash, and they have to try and find their way to society. So it's intense, suspenseful. You get a whole character development of not just Liam Neeson's character, but everybody who's a part of it. It's fantastic. It was one of the movie experiences. I went to it in theaters. That if I could see that in theaters again, I would definitely do it because it is just impactful with all the moments of you're clenching everything and everybody in the theater is doing it at the same time. It's fantastic. Love the movie. It was very hard to. My 10 and 9 were very close together, and I think they're very weird picks, especially for you, because I don't know if you've seen my number 9 even, but we'll get to that in just a minute.
First off, let me just say it's a good pick. I totally forgot about The Gray. I'm gonna be honest. That was a damn good movie. I saw it on the $1 movie night at Warburg College.
So good.
And I saw it with a buddy who didn't really like it, and I was like, man, that's one of the best man versus wild movies I've ever seen. It's fantastic, and like it's a huge but downer, which he did not expect. He was expecting a Liam Neeson action movie, which
that's something that I love. I love movies that ground themselves in reality, and that every choice has a consequence, and not all consequences are bad, not all consequences are good, but when it shows that consequences can be bad, I love that. That's why I loved Infinity War. I loved seeing the heroes lose.
Yep.
Like you don't see that in many Marvel films, so I loved seeing that.
Yeah, it was a really good movie, and I also now that you brought it up, now I can't get that poem out of my head.
Oh,
it's great.
It's so good with the piano song going as well.
And the end when he tapes up the bottles, and you're like, oh,
yes,
fade to black,
and he's just saying that poem at the end. Oh, I love it. Once more into the fray, into the last good fight I'll ever know. Live and die on this day. Live and die on this day. Yeah, it's so good.
Fantastic choice, sir. So maybe you're going a little more esoteric and a little outside the box than I am. I have a couple outside the box choices, but most of mine are, you probably could guess where that they're on the list, not maybe where they are. So my number 10 is Actually, something we were talking about a little bit ago, and that is Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Oh wow. Okay.
Not specifically for the movie itself. This one has a caveat in that it's about the experience of movies. Kind of
Mhm.
like what you said about having it be a great movie going experience. I remember I was not interested in the Monday Night Football game the trailer dropped on. Because it was just I can't remember who was playing. It definitely wasn't the Vikings. So I just kicked on Hulu right when Twitter was like, "Go, go, go!" No, it wasn't Hulu at the time. It must have been on ESPN, like live TV. Then I rewound the DVR to watch the trailer, like on
Mhm.
my TV with the soundbar instead of on my computer.
That was actually Thanksgiving. I remember because I was going to get my Christmas tree the next day. So it dropped the trailer on Thanksgiving night game.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was. I knew it was a football
Mhm.
game.
Yeah, it
Blew
was.
fucking mind. Like every trailer was great. Like all the stuff, like we're shooting on film, we're doing practical effects. Like and J.J. Abrams is a very good director. Maybe
Mhm.
not so great of a finisher, but damn, does
And-
he tell very awesome first act stories.
Not just a good director though, a great sci-fi or
Yes.
fantasy director
Like-
as well.
And damn near everything I've done, everything he's done, I've loved in some capacity. Whether maybe it didn't finish as great as I had hoped, but man, you just see the potential of his stories.
Mhm.
And he just gets you to buy in with some awesome cinematography and some just really good direction, and I really liked it. And then the movie was also really fun with like
Yeah.
characters that you just immediately love. Like you just meet him and Poe's one of the coolest dudes in the galaxy. Like he says like 2 words. Yeah, this guy's fucking awesome. You know, you meet Rey and you're like, oh, you just get where she's at in life and why you
Yep.
want to root for her. You get why Kylo is just this emo dick, but also like in a more relatable sense than Anakin ever was. Because he's a character with like a backstory and a history we give a shit about instead of being made up from scratch that didn't land like Lucas did with Anakin.
Mhm.
But and like I just really I came out of that screening going, fuck yeah, Star Wars. I had a huge smile on my face the whole fucking time. It was awesome. And that experience is only ever maybe rivaled by 1 or 2 movies I've seen. Where from wire to wire, I got a big fucking grin on my face, and then I'm walking out. Immediately, everybody's chattering about what the fuck they're gonna do next. Everybody was.
Oh yeah.
It was crazy. The only time it was ever close was when Jason Statham shows up and kills Han in the end of Fast 6. Like that post-credit scene, everybody lost their fucking mind in my theater. And
Kills Han Solo.
no, Han, the driver Han in the Fast
Oh.
and Furious series. But besides the point, people on YouTube, if you watch this, you might get it. It was just one of those weird moments where everybody was immediately vibing together about everything about the movie we were watching. Such a really cool theater experience and a pretty solid movie. So that's my number 10.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised it's not higher, but that kind of makes me like, oh dang, what's going to be higher up than that?
Okay. So we're moving
I'm
on
excited.
to number 9.
Okay.
Again, sorry, I want to say, people in Twitch chat, if you could get your lists ready, I'd love to see them when we're done with ours.
that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love to compare notes.
So, again, I don't know if you've ever seen this one. I think it would be right in your wheelhouse. Let's go ahead and let's take a bunch of hillbilly boys and have them pull an Ocean's 11 thing. Logan Lucky.
It's on my list to watch.
Awesome movie. I love this movie so much. It is one of the movies where if I see it on TV or I literally see it on Amazon Prime sometimes, and I'm just like, oh, I'm going to watch this movie now just because I see the box art for it or something. I love this movie. It's fun. It's just ridiculous. It's like Kingsman, but not on the level of Kingsman where it like goes crazy, like gratuitous and stuff. It goes crazy. We're just having fun making a movie type of thing. Like Vince Vaughn makes his movie fun for him. The guys that were making this movie made it fun for them. And you can see that passion come out. And it's just such a funny movie. Adam Driver's amazing. Him he's a one-armed bartender. And
That sounds like an Adam Driver role, and I like it.
And he has no personality. It is so funny. And then you got Channing Tatum, Daniel Craig. It's just a hoot. to watch, and I recommend this to every single person. It is fantastic. I went to the theater to see it with some friends. They were like, let's go see a movie. I don't know what we should see. I was like, well, there's Logan Lucky, or we could go see, I don't know, it might have been like a Marvel movie again for the second time. And they were like, let's go see Logan Lucky. And we saw it and we all loved it. So another one you got to go see if you just love funny movies that have ridiculous plots. It's great. That's it. I love it.
Thank you for the heads up there, Liz. This should be on Just Chatting. Now it's updated, so we're good there. Thank you for that, Liz. When I was testing, it was Halo Cheap. That's what we might play next. One of the 2 games that are on the list. So my number 9 is also another one that maybe not a lot of people have seen, or rather not enough people have seen. Because I know some people saw it, but sadly it was only on one fucking top 10 list that I've seen. And
Really?
people are fucking crazy. That movie is Dredd 3D. And or just Dredd.
Oh.
The 2012 Carl Urban doesn't take the helmet off. It is one of the greatest action movies I've ever seen.
I have not seen it, but I've heard you talk about this so much. I think this was the one that I had seen that was your number 1 earlier. I think you changed that.
Oh no, that's a similar action movie, but different.
Oh, okay.
Definitely more mainstream than this one in terms
Gotcha.
of global audience. But
Gotcha.
Dredd is this it's this British satirization of future America, basically. It's really dark, really messed up, very violent and bloody. And the movie
Drugs everywhere
is an adaptation of that original source material, which is the 70s and 80s, and it's still running, I think, comic. I mean, maybe it's wrapped. It's called 2000 AD is the series, and Judge Dredd is the main character. And it's an incredibly dystopian future, but the action that they, like the cinematography of the action, the choreography, the slow-mo, which was done by Gavin Free, and like the 3D effects, like one of those few movies where those gimmicky things not only add, but take the film to another level. Like, it is the showcase for how you fucking do slow-mo and how you do 3D in a movie. So in theaters, it blew my fucking mind. And still, even on a regular screen, it's amazing. Carl Urban is one of my favorite actors, like, working period. Anything he's in, I'm fucking watching. And this is the movie that, like, really cemented him as one of my all-time favorites for just action, like, and just general movie stars in, like, right now. And that hasn't changed since when I watched the movie in 2012. Like, he's amazing in it. And never, like, what Mandalorian learned, don't take the helmet off.
Who would have known that Aomir would have lived so long to have upgraded his horse to a motorcycle?
Wait, you're not talking about Scourge?
What?
He's Scourge in Ragnarok.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and he's in The Boys, and he's in Chronicles of Riddick, and he's in
Boys is what
so much stuff.
Like, but you know me and Thor Ragnarok.
But he's in a lot of, like, I should say genre movies, but he always elevates them.
Yes.
Like,
yes, he does.
Kind of reminds me of Stanley Tucci, only if that Stanley Tucci was an action star. And, like, Tucci's in fucking everything genre. And he's always elevating what he's in, generally speaking, unless you're Michael Bay and you somehow ruin Stanley fucking Tucci.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, he better not be talking about Transformers at all.
I have a caveat for that movie. Because of that exact reason. They ruined Stanley fucking Tucci. I mean, he's in the MCU for like 5 minutes, and he's the best part of that fucking movie in Captain America.
He literally pulled a Batman in, what was it? Was it Batman and Robin, where he does the Blockbuster card?
Yeah.
They did that with Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, pretty much. He's fantastic, and that's beside the point. But like, Carl Urban has been in a lot of genre stuff, both on TV and movies, and he's always awesome in everything he does. And that's the reason alone to go see Dredd. Let alone the fact the action's great, choreography's great, cinematography is beautiful, the slow-mo and 3D effects are great. His sidekick, there's no romance, stupid subplot. She's got her own self-contained arc, and it's fulfilled. Like, the world is very appropriately set up, and it was primed for a sequel, but nobody ever fucking saw it. It was very, very upsetting to me.
I didn't.
You should go watch it. Rent it tomorrow. Yeah, it's New Year's Day. What the fuck are you doing?
Working.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, screw you.
All right, we're
down
done
with the system.
Okay, we could go on an anti-capitalist rant, but let's not. Let's move on to number 8.
All right, my number 8 is going to be. It's going to seem weird that it's the number 8, I think, but it'll make sense later on. It's the 2012 Marvel's The Avengers.
Okay.
It's just, it was so ambitious at the time, and they proved that they could do it. And then from there on, they come across with all these other Avengers movies and all this entire MCU, but Avengers is what brought everything together to show people that they could do this entire thing. And so, while I would say it's not, like, I would say I enjoy watching Logan Lucky a little bit more than the Avengers, but I have to put the Avengers above it because of what it did for cinema. Just simply for that reason. I still think it's a fun movie. I'll watch it over and over again. It's great. The performances are great. The humor, it's like Marvel did a great thing with its humor, balancing it with the stakes that are at hand. Shawarma.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was a great moment.
It's just that man is playing Galaga.
Thought he wouldn't notice, but we did.
So
I always have to finish that.
Yes. It's just it's a great blend. It took all of these different franchises that we all thought were one-offs, and we didn't actually think were going to come together well, and they did it. And then they expanded from there. So I had to put it on the top 10. But it's got to be just at number 8 for me.
Okay. So tell you what, we'll get through my number 8, and then I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right.
Oh man, I might call an audible on the fly here. Yeah, I am gonna.
Quickly.
I'm gonna. Number 8 for me is keeping with the dystopian sci-fi future, Blade Runner 2049. Another movie nobody fucking saw.
That would be me. I didn't.
Again, one of the most beautiful movies, and this is, I think, the first of 2 movies from this director, and I can never remember his name. Let me look him up. I didn't take great notes. Sorry.
I just watched a Corridor Digital video today where they were going over some of the VFX shots.
Denis Villeneuve. However he says his last name. That's one of his 2 movies that are on my top 10 list because he tells really, really fucking cool sci-fi stories.
2 movies.
Yeah, and the other one's much higher up on the list. So this is a in-canon sequel to the 80s Blade Runner starring Harrison Ford. So that's kind of a prerequisite because he shows up in the movie. And you follow Ryan Gosling's character in a very serious role. Like, it's like just kind of crushing his life. Like, and you get into the side of his head as a replicant, and like, you know, going in, like, he's a replicant, and there's no twist there with him. But there is a twist in what kind of replicant he is. And man, I bit super fucking hard on where the director was like pulling you to go before he pulls the rug out from under you. I was like fucking running on that carpet, and he just fucking yanked it backwards, and I face planted right into the twist, and it was awesome. Blew my fucking mind in theaters. Like, I vividly remember turning to Joey. Like, if it wasn't like it was actually a packed theater for that one. It must have been a nice, good sci-fi crowd. But I like grabbed his shoulder. I was like, oh my god, that's fucking awesome. And he was like,
I gotta
dude,
watch this now.
It was great. It was just so well done that I did not see it coming in the slightest, and I probably should have, now that I play it back in my head. Damn, was it just an extremely well done movie for a movie that nobody was really asking for. Clearly, this guy just wanted to tell this story.
Yeah.
And it was fucking awesome. It was just
Is it better than
beautiful
the
movie.
first one?
I think so as a movie. There's some cinematography stuff in the first one that they were definitely limited by the fact that it was early 80s.
Yeah. I personally think the first one is really slow and garbage.
It is, and this movie is slow, but like, it's definitely the definition of a slow burn. Meaning, like, you can feel the fuse ratcheting up as you go, in a way like that the first one didn't.
Okay, yeah.
And I love movies that do that. You can just feel the fuse creeping closer and closer to the bomb.
Okay.
And it really picks up as as it gets going, and it really ignites, and it's, oh shit, it was so good. So good.
Fair.
And
fair.
they're never going to do another Blade Runner again because it totally bombed at the box office.
Oh yeah.
But man, was it awesome. Not to mention the score is amazing. Like the score is maybe the best part of the movie. So good. Just that 80s synth sci-fi stuff, but cranked up to 11. Oh, it's great.
Ooh, I like that.
All right, so I want to hear you. If it's something I know for your number 7, I'm going to bounce to the bathroom while you give your
All right.
explanation.
It's gonna be something you know.
Okay, cool. What is your number 7?
It was possibly one of the highestly, like, it's a weird story behind how people went to go out and see this movie, but it was so good. It lived up to expectations. The double W, we got Wonder Woman at
Nice.
number 7.
Nice.
So
A
freaking
well-earned
good.
movie on the 7. So give your spiel to the audience.
Will do.
I'm going to make a marker so I know where to edit when we're done. And I got to go to the bathroom. Woo!
All right. All right. So Wonder Woman, goodness gracious, this movie, fan freaking tastic. Like, this movie had so much to live up to. It had so much to live up to with the fact that it was the first major female-led superhero movie. It was a character that was in one of the worst superhero universes. Freaking Suicide Squad is in the same universe. Batman versus Superman is in the same universe. Man of Steel is in the same universe. They're not good movies. Wonder Woman is an exceptionally good movie. It is it not only has a theme that just empowers women, but I feel like it just empowers everybody. Like, it's not one of those movies that just says they made a stance. And you can see that stance in when she first goes out into no man's land. There's an easy way that they could have said, because they said, you can't go out there. That's no man's land. Nobody goes out there. And she could have easily just said, I'm no man, and then done it. And that would have been a statement. But instead, what they did was she said, I'm going to do it. I'm not a man. I'm going to go do it. It was just, I'm going to do it because I have the ability to go up there and just make a difference. So I'm going to do it. And that was a fantastic way of not saying it. It could have been backhanded by a lot of people, anti-feminists, like freaking I got balls, I have more than you type of people, which are idiots. But instead they wanted to make that statement that it's not about her being a woman, it's about her being a person who's willing to take the risk and say, I can make a difference. I'm going to make a difference. And that's kind of like what stood out to me and like what makes it such a powerful movie. It does have a really bad third act, but leading up to the third act is an incredible movie, incredible message. I love it. It could have been higher easily, but I think some of the other stuff that's above it has a little bit more impact and a little bit more artistic oomph to it. And then one of them that's in my top 5, that is just, I love it. It's a personal favorite.
Fair enough.
But we'll get to that later.
I agree with the point about her just going and doing it. Maybe Marvel could learn from that a little bit. Like they got a little ham-fisted in Endgame. Not like Supergirl CW levels ham-fistedness, which is very much that. Whereas like the other one, as soon as you were talking, that I came back in was kind of reminded me of that moment in the movie that did this right, that did say because I'm a woman that did it right, was Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. She's like, I am no man, because we had 2 movies to follow her and we knew her arc, and it did play into the moment, like it fit the moment,
and it played into her character.
Exactly.
She was a character that said, I can't do things because I'm a woman. I wish I was a man. And then at the end, she goes and says, well, I am no man. I can do it myself.
Exactly. And like there's moments in movies and in any medium where you can see the message through like that the author is trying, or the author, the writer, the director, or whoever in whatever medium that they're trying to tell you. Whereas in that movie and in Wonder Woman, the characters tell you the message.
Yes.
Which that's what makes the difference.
Yep.
That's why that one scene in Endgame sticks out to me. Is because like that's very much the characters are not telling us this message. And I know that's what sticks out to me. Not the message itself. It's the way it came about. It didn't have to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the end fight scene of Black Panther.
Yeah,
it's not like, and I'm talking about the CG specifically. It's not like trying to put a message, but it's like you can see that something's wrong.
Yeah,
or that it was placed there but not thought out.
Yeah. Like
it didn't feel Wonder Woman
in the moment.
You feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, like it just there's stuff in it that takes you out of that moment, whereas movies that do it right, a la the Wonder Woman No Man Land scene, it all just comes together perfectly. The message, the shot, the cinematography, the score, the sound design.
And then when she gets into that building, she starts beating those boys
with the Wonder Woman theme
electric violin.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
Fucking great. If 1984 is half as good like throughout as that scene, that's gonna be a good fucking time with the movies.
Yeah. I will say Black Panther, that third act, I see Fusion just said third act and CGI was that last battle was all ass. I learned today that they had about 6 weeks to do that last stuff. So
because they wanted it out before Infinity War.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was all ass because they weren't given enough time to make it look good.
Shit. And that's another one. Like the fight didn't need to happen. The fight where he stabs him, yes, do that. But that should have just been hand to hand, no CGI falling through the sky bullshit. Because the message at the end when he chooses to let himself die, that's fucking awesome. Just get to that.
Yeah.
Don't dumb fucking fight between them. Stupid. But that's beside the point. There's prolonging shit for just prolonging it, and that's stupid.
Yep.
But we're moving on to my number 7. This is where I call an audible, and I move Blade Runner 49 down. And I should have done that from the beginning, because number 7 for me is the second best pure action movie of the decade. That is John Wick.
Oh, okay.
I think you know where my other one's going to be. For talking just strictly an action movie. It's not a spy and action movie. It's not a comic book and an action movie. It's just an action movie.
Okay.
And it's Keanu Reeves coming back out of nowhere, because he had a string of sci-fi just kind of weird indie projects, and like Man of Tai Chi, that it was his like passion project, and he did Ronin 47 and all these kind of weird movies that didn't hit well, and so he wasn't like in the cultural limelight as much. He was still Keanu Reeves, he was like an icon, but not on the level that he is now. Not the you're breathtaking level icon. Okay, so put him back on the map. Again, much like Dredd, the fight choreography. Holy shit. It's so good. The fight in his house, I see it in my head as I'm talking in it, and the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up.
Yep.
It's amazing. Like when he jumps on the guy's neck, spins, like brings him to the ground, spins off him, gets up and shoots. It's one fucking take, wide angle.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. It's amazing. Movies don't do that.
And like he went through so much training for this too.
Yeah.
But
so good.
A lot of the times you see these action movies where they just say, all right, we're going to do our action scene and we're going to have 7,000 cuts within these 3 seconds.
Like Liam Neeson taking 3.
Like Liam Neeson climbing a fence.
So bad.
Because that's the battle between the fence. I've actually never seen Taken 3 except for that. Have you seen the Funhouse where Bruce does it? It's so funny.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good.
But yeah, like they do singular takes, and they're not like just 3 or 4 second long takes. They're like 10 to 15 second long takes. In the second one or in the third one that came out this year, I mean, there was that entire Halle Berry scene with him that was like 5 minutes straight. And I think
and it's just a one tracking shot.
Yeah.
It's like,
now there were some,
shit.
there were some hidden cuts in there.
Which,
But
that's cool.
some of that, yeah. But some of that, like literally, a good chunk of that was actually just one shot. Like I think there's a whole 90-second area.
Yeah.
Just one shot.
And
that's
the
incredible.
fact that they hide their cuts, just take the intention to hide their cuts within the shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sets John Wick apart at its most base level. Then you got Keanu being Keanu, and you have the greatest cinematic oh fuck moment, like we fucked up moment in movie history, when the bad guy calls the car shop to be like, I hear you punched my son, and then the guy tells him what happened, and it's told out of order. And when all the pieces come together, and you just hear him turn and say, oh shit, hang up the phone. Scene cuts, and it's a hard audio cut too. There's nothing after it. So they knew what the audience was going to do, which is laugh their fucking asses off.
Yeah.
It just undercut, like, there was enough comedic, because like, an action movie kind of needs some comedic beats. Not quite Bruce Willis, popping off in the 80s being snarky asshole, because that's not Keanu Reeves. But there's enough comedic beats. And part of it is they knew they were casting Alfie Allen to play against his Theon level persona at the time, where Theon was fuck you, Theon. Whereas now in season 8, that would not be the case. But they cast that for a reason, and like they kind of used that in a way to undercut the tension while also still ramping it up beyond it. It was just a vintage action movie told in 2014 and shot gorgeously.
I was literally, because I watched either Die Hard 1 or Die Hard 2 every Christmas Eve, and I go back and forth. So I was watching Die Hard 2 this year. I was just like, why can't they just make these kind of movies nowadays? What makes it so hard? And then it's like, well, they have John Wick. It's not hard.
And they also have Dredd, which you've never fucking seen.
Which I haven't seen that one yet.
You need to watch it.
I'm kind of proud of us for not having any repeats yet.
So far, yeah, we're not. I think as we get closer, we're gonna have some of the same, but in different orders.
Yeah,
but
just different orders. Yeah,
man, we were really spoiled there in the 2012 and 2014, and then now as we get as the windows have condensed between the John Wick movies, man, there was a resurgence of some cool action movies. You got The Raid, you got Dredd, you got John Wick, and its sequels. There was, and plus Daredevil on TV, on Netflix. Man, some of the dopest action scenes. We were a little spoiled there for a bit, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was my number 7. We're not even halfway on the list, Chris.
Yeah.
But I enjoy having these conversations. So I'm totally fine taking all the time in the world to do these. Also, Fusion, you missed it earlier. When we're done, I'd love to see your top 10 list too. Because we're going to go through some honorable mentions, and then we can discuss some of the chat's top 10s. So be working on that as you go. All right? So, Chris, let's move on to number 6.
All right, let's move on to number 6. Everybody, get your NyQuil, get your favorite teddy bear, get a Snuggie, because we're about to go 3 layers deep in Inception. I'm about to do all these.
I did not see that coming. I did not see where the fuck you were going. Well played.
All right, so I loved Inception. I am somebody, if you ask me who my least favorite person in Hollywood is, I will tell you it's Leonardo DiCaprio. Not because of who he is as a person. I just think that he's boring as an actor, personally. This is the only movie that I can watch that has him in it, and it's because it's freaking Christopher Nolan doing Christopher Nolan things, making my mind explode, and making it so that every single time I watch one of his movies, I can pick up something that I never saw before. The amount of times I've seen Inception, or The Dark Knight, or Memento, or The Prestige, and I've seen something or noticed something that I've never noticed in my previous hundreds and thousands of viewings before, it's incredible. I wish I could have put this higher up. I can't, because I think there are other movies that I enjoy a lot more. But Inception is one of those movies that I can always go back to and be like, do I want my brain to be scrambled tonight? Yes, I'll go watch Inception. So, like, it's just, I mean, Michael Caine, Ellen Page, Tom Hardy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's a star-studded cast, fantastic story. He thinks everything out beforehand. And it's just like, I don't know why he doesn't have other stuff, like why he doesn't have more. He has something new coming out this year, and
Tenet.
or this next year, and I'm super excited to see that.
Yeah, and it's
I
time
can't remember
travel
what
and
it's
shit.
called,
Like, what?
but I saw a trailer for it when I
Yeah.
went to see Star Wars.
I didn't see
and
the
it
trailer
looks
yet.
Awesome.
Well.
But yeah, he did this. I was battling with putting Dunkirk on this list.
Mhm.
That would have been a great movie, but I couldn't. There were just too many other movies. I only saw Dunkirk once, so I couldn't remember all of it. But Inception, if you're like my mom, you will never understand it. If you're like me, you'll get a little bit every single time.
Okay. We're bringing the moms into this, huh? All right. So, my number 6, keeping in the kind of more hard R range for now. Also, if you like Inception, you're going to love my number 4 if you've never seen it. Just based on your description. If you've never seen what I have for number 4, much like Dread, put it on your list. But we're sticking with number 6 for now. And that is Logan. Big X-Men fan. Been a fan since the 90s X-Men series, as a kid. I think I was 4 when the series came out, maybe when the series wrapped. Fusion would know, being the elder statesman of the nerd community that he is. Wait, I'm muted? Stream, can you hear me? Hang on, let me okay, maybe it's just Discord call. We can hear you. Okay. Thanks, stream. This is why we do some stuff live, people. These things can be caught. All right, I'm going to reset my voice settings. Are we back? All right, voice and video, USB.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay, we're back. Chris is in frame. All right.
I am.
So, where did we leave off where you couldn't hear me?
I stopped talking and I couldn't hear you. So everything that happened after I stopped talking.
Okay. So, what I was saying is you're going to like my number 4 if you liked Inception. But we're going to stick with number 6 for now. Your description for 4 made me go. Your description for Inception made me go, oh, dude, you're going to love what I have for 4 if it's not on your list. You're going to love it. Number 6 for me, keeping in the hard R-ish kind of range that I've been in with Dread and John Wick and even Blade Runner, I would say Logan.
Ooh, okay.
I'm a very big X-Men fan, have been pretty much my whole life. Fox Kids was something I grew up on, so I grew up on Spectacular Spider-Man and X-Men the Animated Series, along with Yu-Gi-Oh! And a whole bunch of other stuff like Digimon and whatnot.
It's time!
Dude, that one and the Digimon theme song, and X-Men's theme song, and Spectacular Spider-Man's theme song. We were spoiled with theme songs.
Ducks theme song?
We were spoiled with that shit.
I just listened to the Mighty Ducks theme song over and over in the car. But I hope it worked.
And another one that's not a song, but an awesome intro is Gargoyles, but that's beside the point. Because Keith David's voice, for a minute, just doing awesome speeches and rousing likeness. Yes, I'm here for it. But anyway, Logan, really awesome mashup of classic Western tropes and what you would want for gore and violence out of a Wolverine movie. The guy's got metal claws. He should be fucking some people up. And he fucks some people up. And
they get right to it.
Yeah. And it's a great adaptation, not a 1-to-1. They more just take the themes of Old Man Logan into the movie rather than the direct story, which, given where the Fox universe was due to legal rights, it was never going to be the Old Man Logan comic, because that includes Red Skull and what happened with the Avengers and Hulk being a bad guy and stuff. So that was never going to be a thing they could do. But James Mangold, I can't remember how he says his last name, told one hell of a story. And Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, the fact that neither of them were nominated for either a lead or supporting, not that they would have won or should have won, they weren't even nominated. That's some bullshit. Because I was fucking bawling like a baby when Xavier died. And when he broke down burying him, holy shit. That hit me so goddamn hard.
That's one of those movies, I loved that movie, and it's one of those movies I loved it because it's those hard-hitting moments, those consequences to your actions type of thing. You're gonna be screwed sometimes, and that just happens.
Yeah. And again, much like the other movies that I've listed for the action stuff, you feel the action. It's not as well shot or as edited as Dredd or John Wick in terms of the sheer choreography of the fights, but
Mhm.
you feel the ferocity, you feel the power of still Wolverine that he still has, and
Yeah.
that X-23 has. You feel their animalistic style and how it is shot and edited, which is really cool. Like a lot of
Yes.
movies don't bring you into the fight like that with how they shoot it. And like it was just extremely well done, like how they and like the moment when he finally gets to be Wolverine at the end, you know, when he injects it and you're along for the ride, but you know where it's gonna end. Like, cause it's a Western, like you know where it's gonna end. They're not hiding this at all, that he's gonna
Yeah.
die. Like, and that I fucking loved that. Like how they mashed up and even included one of the most famous westerns. I think it was it Shane? I think it was Shane that they had in canon on TV that they're watching in the hotel. And
Oh, right.
like very much so like the score, like the long drawn out chords in the final fight when the medicine's starting to wear off after the big ramp up with the score, and then that slow wind down where it's starting to come off him. God, it just hit me like I'm watching a western right now, and it's about to go really bad, but I cannot look away. It was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good movie. I really liked it. It was a little bit slow, or it was a little bit too dramatic for me, so I didn't put it. It's not on my list, but it is up there with one of the best superhero movies of all time, in my opinion.
And Diffusion's point in the chat is like there's continuity issues, but like this is again what we were talking earlier. One of those movies that if you divorce it from everything else, totally stands up.
Yes.
Like they explain everything within the universe enough to where if you've paid attention to any X-Men media of any type, you're going to be fine. Which at this point is a large section of the population, much like because we all like you and me, we both grew up in the '90s. We've been exposed to a lot of X-Men.
Yeah.
Not all particularly good, but a lot of X-Men.
And let's be honest, if you're ever gonna see Patrick Stewart die in a film, you're gonna cry. Because it's Patrick Stewart. He should be alive forever.
He's like British Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
If I mean, it's you're gonna tear up.
Yeah.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
It is emotionally very impactful also, and again you have to take into account the fact that it's Hugh Jackman's swan song, you know, as he was the character for 17 fucking years. Crazy. I think the only person who's going to be able to, like, RDJ rivals it.
Yes.
So does maybe Chris Evans, but less so because of his, like, he doesn't really
because he didn't just die. He got to live out his dream.
And the only other one of the big movies that could do it for me, and maybe Gal Gadot's going to get there with Wonder Woman, but she's got to compete with Linda Carter for a lot of people. And Susan Eisenberg's voice, so good. But Chris Hemsworth's Thor. Like, however, if he keeps going and they end up doing like old Thor, like All Father Thor, that'd be awesome. That'd be the only thing that could rival Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Is incredible. It was incredible to watch. And the fact that we're never going to see it again, him and his Wolverine, unless Marvel's like, hey, how much money you need for this Deadpool 3 thing we got going on?
That would be great. But
only have him show up as Hugh Jackman.
That would be even more fantastic.
It'd be great.
I would love if Marvel kept X-23.
Oh, if X-23 is not a headline mutant, I'm gonna be fucking stunned.
And I don't mean just the character. I want that actress too.
Yeah, she's been in an HBO show. Like, she's been amazing. And by the time they get around to it, she'll be in her mid-teens, I think, because she was like 9 when the movie went out.
Yeah, she'll be around the right age for
where they put her in like X-Men Evolutions. She was awesome in X-Men Evolutions, and like that arc and dealing with like you don't even have to have Logan in the movie, but you could have her deal with Logan's legacy in the movie. Like, have Logan be dead.
Yeah.
And eventually maybe you actually do Old Man Logan within the MCU.
That would be great. I'm all about it.
Shit. That'd be amazing.
Let's go.
But before we get into super hypotheticals and get off on a massive tangent, which, man, we could totally do. We did 3 2.5-hour podcasts on the MCU. We could do this. Let's move into our top 5.
All right. Top 5. I was surprised when you sent me the original file of this. I was surprised that these movies were not on your list. You are a Neanderthal, sir. You have just gone so primitive. I just I don't know how I could call you anything but a monkey. Just like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes has some freaking apes in it,
That's
and you were a part of it.
It's on my list.
Is it
It's in my
really?
it's in my honorable mentions. It was
Oh,
so
okay.
close.
I didn't see it on your list earlier when you sent it.
It was that or Blade Runner 2049 because they're a lot of similarities.
Yeah, I love Dawn. It's the best of the trilogy by far.
Mhm.
Andy Serkis shows his chops as an actor, not
As an-
as
Yeah.
just a performance capture person. Like he's like he just went above and beyond. And this movie, I don't know what it is about this movie. It's just beautiful. It's I it's hard for me to describe this movie. I don't know. Like it's a great continuation of a story that they started.
Which a different
it's one of-
director. This is a trilogy that had multiple directors
and
and
did a
it
good
fucking
job.
worked.
Like the first trilogy of Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back was the best of that trilogy. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy.
And
Fantastic.
again, some big story similarities in terms of how things end.
Yeah, it really is. It's a very, very, very similar. I never really thought about that. But
Thanks, Liz.
maybe that's why I love it. All right, Star Wars with apes.
Chris's intros have been stellar. They've been stellar. He's brought his A game.
Wait,
Oh, we got an alert,
I
but
wanna
no one's
know-
gonna hear it. But let me turn my alert box on. I don't have the alert box on this scene.
I'll give you a little hint list. The amount of time that I took to come up with these intros is the amount of time that it takes me to say the intros because that's all I'm just making it up as I go.
Okay, let me shrink this a little more. Okay. Here's your alert again, Skylar. Here. Wait, scroll back up.
I have money.
Here we go. Love my supernatural alerts. They're very fun. But thank you for them bits, Skylar. We're in the middle of our top 10 movies of the decade if you want to stick around. Unless you're doing New Year's stuff, which I understand. So are you done?
Yeah, I'm good. Dawn of
Okay.
the Planet of the Apes, best of the trilogy. See all of them though; they're all fantastic.
Oh, they're fantastic movies. It is definitely, they are, that and War are so close for me. Plus, when I get real
yeah.
hyped, that dude's doing Batman.
He is.
Yeah,
I forgot
Matt
about
fucking
that.
Reeves, baby.
Yes, Matt Reeves. I forgot about that. That makes me excited, even though Robert Pattinson.
Oh, dude, he's a very good actor.
He is.
He is.
He seems like a weird Batman to me, but Heath Ledger seemed like a weird Joker. So
Yeah, and Pattinson is
I'm gonna
seriously
go along with
solid.
it.
So,
Yeah.
plus his attitude about it is like, dude, haters are gonna hate anyway, so might as well do what I'm gonna do. Just like, yeah. I dig that attitude about it. That and his like one of the thing, or not a meme, but like just a thought on it was, I mean, he's kind of got the Bruce Wayne in this. Everyone thinks of him this way because of Twilight, but really he's this powerhouse acting who's got multiple awards across multiple genres, and nobody
yeah.
knows about it because it's all small stuff.
He's kind of like the Hayden Christensen. Like Hayden Christensen's a good actor. It was George Lucas that made him an ass.
Yeah, more or less. And I think he's better than Christensen. But that's beside the point. That's all. That's very subjective. Like, I don't want to get into that. Outside of saying, like, some people, like, there are, like, Carl Urban's one of my favorites kind of thing. Like, that's about as subjective as I want to get. So, my number 5, my top 5, another superhero movie. I actually have one more superhero movie coming. And one that might as well be a superhero movie, but it's not. My number 5 is Avengers Infinity War.
Okay.
On a pure technical level, I think it's actually got better dialogue and better character interactions, I should say, than the first Avengers, which was awesome and just like you said, incredibly ambitious. And we knocked it out of the park for being that first big team up movie that no one's ever really nailed before. Like there have been similar stuff going on, but nothing to that level with multiple A-listers, like all bringing their own ness to the movie set and on screen.
Yeah, all of the
nailed
ones
that.
Although the ones before that seemed like one of those Scooby Doo episodes where it's like Scooby Doo and the Harlem Globetrotters beforehand.
Yeah, that or it
This
got
one,
close
yeah.
like X2, but kind of missed the mark in terms of the big team up moments.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie has those big team up moments, has incredible emotional payoff for all 20 movies, and is paced far better than Endgame, in my opinion, in terms of
Okay.
how they use their characters. And it helps that characters are in tighter knit groups for Infinity War, which works to
Mhm.
the Russos' credit, given where they were left off in the Russos' previous movie, Civil War. Like,
Right.
this is a case of a trilogy, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, being done by two dudes the whole
Yep.
fucking time together, like planning it with Kevin Feige, and it all stuck the landing, which is
Yep.
crazy in this day and age. But the Thanos, Thanos is the main hero or main villain, and Thor is the main hero, and then him losing at the end because of like hubris, like the getting the gauntlet, all those moments, they just keep one upping themselves without one feeling lesser than the last, which is incredibly hard to do in a movie, in a thing that's got to be that fast paced, because we knew the snap was happening, and it still packed
Yeah.
a massive punch, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's to me, it's one of the top 2 or 3 MCU movies for everybody, and if it's not, you're fucking crazy. It's I think one of the best superhero movies. Like, it's a team up movie, Crisis on Infinite Earths level movie done right
Yep.
in 2 hours, not in a show like what like CW is doing now. In a movie in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and they fucking nail it. It's just crazy because in the Infinity War story, it's huge.
Yeah.
And to nail that in 2.5 hours with the disparate cast of characters they have all spread all over their universe, and to how they bring it all home. Oh, god damn.
Yeah.
So good. Plus, and this is where it gets it for me over Endgame, which is in my honorable mentions, which so I won't bring it up again because they're kind of, like I said, they're very linked, so you kind of can't separate them sometimes. Thor landing in Wakanda is a better moment than damn near anything that happens in Endgame. For in terms of theater reaction, again, this comes back to my experience. This is where the subjectiveness comes in.
Okay, that's interesting.
People lost their fucking shit. And again, I think it's better. Like, specifically, it's better than when Captain Marvel shows up, for sure, to destroy the ship. Because I was watching that going, well, Thor could literally just do that. He did in the last movie. He destroyed like 15 dropships by his damn self, and just fucking flew through them. Cap wielding Mjolnir, but that's one of those that like I saw coming. I didn't see Thor landing in Wakanda how they did with the music swelling and everything. The directors nailed getting you just enough turning your head just enough where you didn't see it coming, and then they swerved. Thor's here, let's go win, and the music swells up and it's awesome. And again, this is where it's subjective. I saw the Cap thing coming and it was awesome, but that's where the experience part comes in. I just could see them doing that. Yeah, that's where I left it. Thor arriving in Wakanda is one of the best cinematic moments of the last, maybe since Star Wars.
Interesting.
Like, it's amazing. It was so fucking cool.
Huh.
And they kept it out of the trailers.
Yeah, they're good at that. I don't watch the trailers
The
until
Russos are good at that.
With the big ones, big movies like that, I don't watch the trailers going into it. I watch them right after I watch the movie. But yeah, it was impressive that they kept so much out of these.
Yeah, like is the story behind. I cannot wait for. There's gonna be entire studies around Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame.
Yeah,
in terms of how that story came to be across. It's gonna be crazy.
College level classes about the MCU.
Yeah, and like a whole section is going to be around the crafting of these two movies by the Russo brothers. Like, it's insane how they managed to pull it all off. It's insane. That's why it couldn't not be in my top 5.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the start of our top 5. Let's move it on up to number 4.
Well, that's very interesting. You said Infinity War was your number 5. Well, Endgame's my number 5. I think one thing that can rival Thor landing on that thing is technically based on the what would that be? A 6 or 7 movie callback on your left.
That's great. Don't get me wrong. That's fantastic. I loved it.
It's just the music is dead. There is no sound but wind. And all you hear is on your left. And then all of these rings with every single person that we've been following for the past, what? How many years was it? 11 years?
Yeah, it would have been 2008 to 2019. So yeah, 11
Yeah.
years.
11 years we've been following these people. And we see all of them join together to fight what we've been building to. And that, like, this is a movie. I was talking about this on stream the other day. This is a movie that has the highest of holy crap, I love watching all this action, and the lowest of why you making me feel right now. Like, my throat hurts so much during the last 15 minutes of that movie. Because it's like, I've watched RDJ be Iron Man. I am Iron Man. And even going, like, just going through the credits, they have so much of these people. They show all these people that have been in all these movies. And then at the end, it's all the signatures of everybody who was in the first Avengers movie. And like, that just grips something, like grips me in a way that I don't think, like, Infinity War was great. I loved Infinity War, but Endgame is a culmination, it is the end game to these 11 years that we've been putting into, not only we've been putting into it, but Feige, Disney, Marvel, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Samuel L. Jackson, all these people have been putting their heart and soul into this for the viewer, and we finally get the payoff. It's going to be difficult going forward in the MCU because I don't know how they're going to ramp it up, but to have Endgame is just so satisfying. And it might be a bit long, but
It's
I
earned.
think
That's earned.
it's a ride that is worth every second. And everything feels like it was crafted to be exactly the way that it came out. And I think that earns it in the top 5 for me.
Fair enough. The only issue I would take up with your crafted, again, this is the subjective nature of this discussion. Not a huge fan of where they went with Hulk, but they left the door open to where they go, and he's such a main part of the plot. I'm like, and where they were going with it in Ragnarok, his arc, and in arc is Infinity War, and then they just dealt with it off camera, like Palpatine coming back. Spoiler, which is not really spoiler. Sorry, it's literally the first line
for
of the
if
movie.
you haven't seen, spoiler for if you haven't read the opening crawl.
It's the first fucking line of the movie, which is
Yep.
again one of those like, why was this an off-camera thing? And that just, I could not get that out of my fucking head.
We'll have to do our own spoiler cast for it.
We will. Sorry, Liz, for that one line. It's literally a line. I'm not overselling this. It's one line at the start.
If we do that podcast, we're either going to need to do multiple parts or it's going to be a really long podcast.
It's going to be a bad one. Okay.
I have so many things to talk about.
I do promise now, Liz, that was the only time I ever in my head thought we would talk about that. So that one's done. So we're on 4, right?
Yes.
Okay. Number 4. This is the one I think you would like if you really like Inception. Another one by Denis Villeneuve. This is the second of his that I have on my top 10. He's one of my favorite directors. He also did Sicario, which was awesome with Emily Blunt and Benicio del Toro. I'm pretty sure that was him. I could be mistaking him. But Arrival, starring Amy Adams, and Jeremy Renner. It's my number 4.
It was honestly between Logan Lucky, The Grey, and Arrival by 9, 10, 11 spots.
Yeah, I figured this might be on your list when you were talking about Inception because I was like, holy shit. I went and saw it twice, and I don't see a lot of these type of movies, I should say these type of if I'm gonna go see a movie twice, it's because of the spectacle. It's because of the movie going experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in movies that is predicated on the twist, on that rug pull, you don't gain anything by seeing it in a theater again. Not really.
No.
It's all about that first time experience. In that type of movie, similar to like what I mentioned in Blade Runner 2049 and like what you mentioned in Inception. Like that initial experience is everything in those type of stories. And Arrival, I went and saw it with my sister the second time. The first time I saw it by myself, and I was like, it's so fucking good, I'm making you go with me. And we went and saw it. She was blown away because she's a huge science buff. Like she has a minor in, I think it's biology and whatever. So she like loves like the science of where they went with a few of the characters, not the main character because hers is more linguistics and like that. It's a really dry subject, the study of language. But man, it gets so emotional. Like if you don't feel something in your soul during this movie, in multiple parts of this movie, you're a dead person. You're like, you must be 6 feet under the ground because it's incredibly emotional. And then when the twist happens, when all the pieces fit together in that final 5 minutes, and then things kick off and the tension gets ratcheted up like fucking immediately. Because it's already been like another one of those, this guy's a master of the slow burn where you can feel the fuse going, link by link in its fuse. Like you feel it go and get closer and closer and closer to the explosion. And when it goes off, God, it's a thing of beauty. It's awesome.
Oh my gosh. It's a very Christopher Nolan type way of telling a story.
Yeah. And I'd put him, he hasn't had the total output of Nolan.
Right.
But he's damn close.
Did he also do, what was the one with Natalie Portman?
Annihilation?
Annihilation?
Was that him? I thought that was Alex Garland.
I can't remember.
Okay, there's a lot of stories behind who did Dredd. There's the director and then the guy that wrote it, who basically directed the movie according to Carl Urban, who was like, he was my set director for everything and Urban's in damn near every scene. So clearly the guy directed and then didn't get credit for it, and those two guys don't work together anymore.
Huh.
And I'm pretty sure Alex Garland was that writer. And he also did Ex Machina with Oscar Isaacs.
Oh, Ex Machina was all right.
Yeah. So he's got some good sci-fi credentials, Alex Garland does. And it was more, he needs to do sci-fi action, not esoteric sci-fi, like thinking sci-fi, because he gets a little up his own ass sometimes on how to tell the story and how to finish the payoff. Yeah. But man, when it comes to action, that dude fucking gets it.
Oh, yeah.
So sci-fi action is where he needs to stick from an outside perspective. As outside can get perspective.
Arrival was one of those movies, like, I saw the trailer for it, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a fun, typical sci-fi, oh, aliens are here, crazy, either, like, horror, suspenseful-ish type of stuff is going to come up, or there's going to be, like, battles or stuff. This is not that movie at all. And it was that subversion that made me fall in love with this movie.
Yeah. For me,
I'm not going to say what it's about because everybody should just go watch this movie.
It's great. It's one of the best sci-fi movies, period. It's very much what it's very much what the new Day the Earth Stood Still was trying to be in terms of like the message of what's happening here, like the message of like the first contact and like what humanity does in the face of it.
Yeah.
But it actually nails it to a massive degree. So, and it's just a classic sci-fi story that like feels ripped right out of like the 50s in terms of like 50s writing and noveling. Like,
I can see that.
But it's just executed so well.
It's a very Asimov type of story.
That's exactly who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. So you should all watch that one. So that's 4. One of the top 3. Yeah. One of the big ones here.
So, I mean, you just said fantastic. You could say incredible. You could say spectacular. Just joyful. Stupendous. Did you say fantastic? You already said fantastic.
I did.
Did I say incredible? We're going to say incredible again. Not The Incredibles, though.
If this was last decade, that'd be on my list.
Yeah. The Incredibles 2 was meh.
It wasn't as good. It was definitely not bad, but it was not as good as like the all-time. Oh, this is maybe the best superhero movie, top 5 ever.
One of the best supervillains of all time.
Yeah, but that's beside the point. Let's get to your number 3.
Beside the point. I just went through 6 different descriptors.
Well,
I'm gonna
six
go-
descriptors, not all different.
but they all say 6 different descriptors that all mean the same thing. Let's go with the 7th. What would be the 7th? Magnificent 7.
Oh shit! You're putting this at 3? Holy fuck!
I love this movie, dude. I don't know what it is. I hate westerns. I love this movie. I can watch this movie every single week. When I went to go see it in theaters, and when it came out on DVD, I watched it for 4 weeks straight. Like one viewing a week. I love this movie. I think this came out the same year, or no, it came out the same year as Rogue One. Yes, came out
Sounds
in
right.
2016.
Yeah.
Which I think 2016 might be one of the best years of movie in the past decade.
That's a strong claim.
Yeah, I have a lot of movies that I love. I mean, 2016 had Deadpool, Magnificent Seven, Civil War, Arrival, Rogue One. It had Moana. It had
That's a hell of a list.
there's
Was that How
more.
to Train Your Dragon 2?
No, that was 2014.
Dang, that's one of my honorable mentions. But
That's one of mine too. That's one of my favorite animated movies of all time.
I fucking cried.
Oh heck yeah, dude!
Act
That
2?
movie
Oh my
came
God.
out on Father's Day weekend.
What? That was like culmination of marketing, storytelling, directing, score.
Yeah,
Ah.
it's so good.
But anyway.
That's such a good movie.
You're talking about
But
Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent Seven was a better telling of Rogue One, in my opinion. Like the way that Rogue One's like third act went, I think Magnificent Seven did a better job of it. I'm a big fan of Denzel Washington. I just watched Remember the Titans the other day. I love Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke. Man, I forgot that guy could act. He's awesome in that movie. Chris Pratt.
Pratt. Yeah.
I was
Which
thinking
Chris?
Pine. I'm like,
Fuck.
That's wrong. Chris Pratt, super funny. If you've never seen him talk about how he had to do a magic trick on set, and then he does a magic trick on the Graham Norton show, you should go watch that clip because it's hilarious. He's on there talking with who's the lead guy from Black Eyed Peas? Will.i.am.
Oh yeah.
He does a magic trick for Will.i.am, and Will.i.am is the dumbest person when it comes to a deck of cards. He pulls an ace and he calls, "I have an A." It's so funny. And then
what, Rhoda? We'll get to the
Vincent
games.
D'Onofrio.
We're talking about movies, man. Also, kudos on getting through Expanse season 4. Good job.
Nice. Good job, Rhoda. But Magnificent Seven, it is, who was it? Anton Fuqua. Antoine?
Yeah, that sounds right.
He did a fantastic job with this. This is a movie. One of the things that I love about this movie is that, unlike the original Magnificent Seven, which is super slow, super boring, super garbage, I fell asleep during that movie.
How
I do not
fucking
fall
dare
asleep
you.
during. I don't like westerns. This is the only western that I
Fucking
like.
crazy. Another western you should see, 310 to Yuma.
I've seen
The Bale
last
version.
15
It's
minutes
a
of that.
remake. The Bale Russell Crowe version.
Yeah, I would
Very
watch
good.
that one. But
Plus, cinematography's come a long way from when westerns were in their heyday.
yes, yeah, that's something that I don't like about westerns. It's just so static.
I understand. And
Um,
honestly, I could see the argument for Magnificent Seven in the top 10. It was a phenomenal film. Like, well acted, well shot. The score was fantastic. The sound design. My knock is they waste Matt Bomer, but that's whatever. He's, again, much like Carl Urban, he's one of my favorites. Just awesome dude. In fact, that he never got to be Superman kind of sucks. But again, I actually really like westerns. So again, I see your argument for this. And I think Seven and Logan prove, Magnificent Seven and Logan prove, westerns are still a thing, people.
Yeah. Oh,
Let's
agreed.
fucking go.
But we got sidetracked. But I was saying that one of my favorite parts about this movie, they don't whitewash it. They have
Oh, no.
Denzel Washington. They have an actual Native American playing a Native American. They have
And a Native American villain.
and they have a Native American villain. So they have that. They have Billy. I can't remember who plays Billy, but he's an Asian guy. Like there's only 3 white people on the Magnificent Seven. I
And
can't
Chris
remember
Pratt
who
gets to say, "Oh, great," and he's drunk. Great, we got a Mexicans.
Yep. but those 2 characters have such a great chemistry.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
In that movie. Yeah. So I love this movie. It's just I don't know what it is, but it's just one of my favorite movies of all time.
And that's what movies are about. This is why this list is so subjective. It's not. This list is not the best technical movies.
This list is only wrong if you put The Last Jedi on it.
Fair enough. There's some other movies in this decade I'd put on that list. Like Dark Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
But like stuff like that.
That's true.
But this list is all about, and that's what movies are. Movies are what you love. And if what you love is super mainstream, fine. If what you love is super, indie, fine. If what you love is super weird, like top 3, like Magnificent Seven, that's crazy. Not the craziest. Not fucking Captain America: First Avenger being a top 4 Marvel movie. Joey, you're fucking crazy. Clipping that out.
Wait, the first Avengers top 4 of all time?
Yeah, he puts Captain America: First Avenger top 4 MCU up to now. Because he's fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of weird.
But
I think it's a great movie.
That's just me being
top 4.
upset to be upset, like for the comedy of it. But it's fine. Like if you like what you like, that's fine.
Yeah, Joey, that's your opinion.
It's wrong.
It's okay that you're wrong, but
it's your opinion. Okay.
All right, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is the other Captain America movie that we haven't talked about. And that's Winter fucking Soldier.
Yeah.
It is a culmination of spy movie, action movie, and superhero movie in a way that has never been done and probably never will be again to that extent. The action hits hard, the spy thrilling, like it feels almost like a Mission Impossible movie. The cinematography is almost on the level of, I would say, Daredevil season 1 and 3. Some of the fights are just holy shit. You feel Captain America could kick through it, dude.
Yeah.
Like the way they use the shield, the sound design of the fights, the finale, the climax, the twist with Bucky. Even though being a Marvel buff, the twist is coming. Still executed extremely well, acted extremely well. Like Chris Evans was amazing throughout the movie. All the cast is used super well. Introducing Falcon, Anthony Mackie, didn't see that coming, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
he was
fantastic.
fantastic.
Was really good.
Like how they blow up the MCU. Like, think about the balls they have to blow up S.H.I.E.L.D. post Avengers. Fucking crazy. If you know Marvel Universe, S.H.I.E.L.D. is a constant. It constantly lives and dies, but it's always there.
It's so weird because like nowadays I go back and I watch those movies and I'm like, oh yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. was a thing.
Yeah, and like it fundamentally changed the MCU, made Captain America fucking cool, because he really wasn't post for one. His first movie was really good. Joe Johnson was it's an underrated movie, but not top 4, Joey.
Yeah.
And he was not the coolest, definitely, in Avengers. And which is weird because Joss Whedon wrote his inverse, his opposite in the DC Superman to be fucking awesome in Justice League. Didn't write him so great direct him so great in terms of the Avengers, but that's beside the point. And then Robert Redford as one of the bad guys, like that's just straight out of the 70s spy movie shit. It just hit. It was. I think the best technically crafted standalone story within the MCU that had larger ramifications outside of the big Avengers movies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why for the standalone movies, and I don't really count Civil War among that because it's basically Avengers 2.5.
Avengers, yeah.
I think it's the best standalone superhero movie.
I would definitely have to agree with that.
Wire to wire. Wonder Woman got damn close those first 2 acts.
Well, yeah.
And then it just fell off the race. Dark Knight is up there.
Dark Knight is up there. I thought you were talking MCU. Yeah, I like.
I'm talking superheroes just period.
Just in general.
Winter Soldier is fucking perfect.
Okay, yeah.
Like, it's fantastic. But it gets a bit of a knock because you can't entirely separate it from the MCU like you can a Batman story and Dark Knight or Wonder Woman on her own without connections to everything.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, was it good.
Yeah, it was really good.
And plus, it's the best honest trailer, period. The honest trailer for that movie. top notch.
I can't
When he
remember
like
honest
the
trailers
voice,
one.
it's one of the first honest trailers where they just don't shit on the movie. They're like, and it's the voiceover guy, the new guy who's like, or the current epic voice guy.
Uh-huh.
It's like well, yeah, it's just a well acted, competently shot, hard hitting action movie. So get ready for nitpicking, and they just go to town, and it's fantastic. And
Yeah.
it's like the fact that you can't make fun of this movie. Like they crafted a movie so good, you can't make fun of it except for maybe Bucky Barnes' hair.
Yeah.
That's what you can get as a bad out of this movie. That's crazy. That's crazy in this day and age. I love it. It's fantastic. That's my number 3.
That's like, I know that Magnificent Seven is up there and it's weird. That I agree that is a fantastic spot to put that. It's not there on my list, but that's a great spot to put Captain America.
Ooh, some people in chats are getting their lists ready. I'm very excited, guys. And we're almost there because we're moving
nice.
on to number 2. Chris, hit him with it.
Number 2, well, sometimes you got to take a crack at something twice. And I mean, you have to take a crack at redoing something twice. This is the second time that they've redone Star Wars Force Awakens.
Oh, shit. Number 2? Oh, fuck.
Dude. Now, this goes back to what I was saying with The Gray and what you were saying with, what was your number 10?
My 10 was Force Awakens.
Was Force Awakens. You were saying it was about the movie-going experience. This is up there. One, I love Star Wars.
I didn't know that.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I don't know if you can tell from my attire right now.
I don't know if I could tell from your YouTube channel name.
I mean, possibly not. Let me just duck down a little bit. I don't think you can tell from this angel that's above my head right now.
Angel's a strong word for him. Let's be real.
I don't know. The devil's still an angel. He's just fallen.
He's an asshole, but he's an angel. Like, wait, what? You love Star Wars? Who are you and what have you done with Chris?
But this is the movie that got me to say, I'm not watching trailers anymore. And it's for the reason you were talking about how you love the trailer. I remember it was Thanksgiving Day that it came out because we were sitting in the car and my brother pulled out his phone to watch the trailer on his phone in the car. And I said, I'm not watching that. And I plugged my ears and I just did that thing where you just keep moving your hands so you can't hear anything while they're in your ears. And I would not watch a trailer for that. So going into that movie, I did not know anything. I didn't know Rey was going to be a character. I'd never seen her before. I didn't know Finn was going to be a character. Never seen him before. I had no idea Oscar Isaac was in the movie. Like, I didn't know anything going into this movie. And it was the greatest movie experience of my life. It's just so fresh to go into something that you already know you love, have it reassured that you love it, and be spectacled by everything. Like, I've told my parents if I ever get amnesia, I want them to videotape me watching all of Star Wars again for the first time, because
nice. Release order, Chris's parents. Release order.
But it's because I can never have that experience again, but I can live that experience in my mind because I've actually done it before in a Star Wars film. I've actually watched Star Wars films without knowing anything going in. Some of them have been good.
Less than stellar.
One of them have been
Rhoda, I can give you amnesia, Chris.
Shut up, Rhoda. You haven't passed your test yet, so you're not legally allowed. But yeah, so like it's up there, not because it's the best movie out of all of them, but because the experience meant something to me more than most of these other movies did. So
fair enough. That's what movies are about.
That's why it's number 2. And this isn't, to me, this wasn't what's your favorite movie list. It's what movie means the most to you list out of the decade. So that's why Force Awakens is so.
I completely understand. Now I will say, the trailer for Force Awakens is probably my favorite trailer of the decade. Like, blew my
I watched it
goddamn
again.
mind.
Yeah, I mean they play that trailer to say Finn's your Jedi, and then you go watch that movie. Like I could have watched that trailer and still been blown. Ray's your Jedi.
Yeah, and it was
So like that's insane.
yeah, like just like it gets you hyped in a way very few trailers still do.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, one of the trailers that does it for my number 2, or no, fuck. Again, I'm calling an audible here. Maybe.
Oh no.
It's as we talk, it's like it's so hard because like I see a lot of movies and like I love a lot of movies. Like
Oh man.
if I hate something, it's gotta suck. Okay, I'm not super critical in terms of what I really like because if I like it, I fucking like it. And you know
go
what?
ahead.
I'm gonna
You
say
can
it.
go ahead and
I'm
say
gonna
Darth
say I'm gonna
Vader was your
say
number
it as
two.
I'm gonna say it as I wrote it. So my number 2.
Okay.
Doesn't involve the trailer thing. That's where my audible was gonna go. My number 2 is Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay. Okay.
For a lot of people, it's their favorite of the decade. For me, it's literally trying to cut a hair in half long ways. The fuck do you do it? But it's no doubt the greatest action movie shot. It's literally a 2-hour action movie. This just sheer fucking craziness of the stunt work. Like the behind the scenes are as good as the movie. It's insane. The
And the
fucking
fact that
poles that are
most-
flying over cars. You got a guy actually having a flamethrower guitar and shit. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Most, if not all of that, is practical, right?
Yeah, it's damn near all practical, except I think obviously post lighting effects and stuff. But it's like,
Yeah.
holy goddamn hell! The guy waited how long to get to do a Mad Max movie again? Like, and it's George Miller. Like, is that fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, and he's coming back to do it, and it doesn't suck, and it's better than anything he's ever done. It's crazy. It's awesome. And like the
Yeah.
lead doesn't speak, and it's amazing. Like it's
Your
one of
main
the
character isn't your main character.
yeah, like it being Furiosa. It's definitely Theron's one of her best movies. Period. Like the fact that they tied it in with like the Immortan Joe, like we don't even know where it is in the continuity, and you can't sit there and go, "This movie's fucking amazing." If you sit in the
Yeah.
theater, this is to me one of my ultimate. You fucking see this on the biggest, loudest setting you can. Because that's what this movie is fucking made for. It is movie-going spectacle, not just on steroids, but like on all the steroids in the world. Like if
Yeah.
A-Rod and Barry Bonds combined their steroids, that's what this movie's on. It's crazy.
It is. It's not up there for me. I personally I will marvel at the spectacle of that movie, but I'm a person who really doesn't enjoy like car chases, and that's what that movie is. It's a big
It is.
action car chase, and I don't like car chases.
Yeah, like
So
I
movies like the Fast and Furious franchise and
don't put that
Mad
on
Max
that
Fury
level.
Road.
Don't even.
well, I mean, but you get I'm not saying it's on that level, but like I'm not going to go a lot of people go enjoy Fast and Furious because it's just a bunch of crazy car chase crap. I'm not going to go watch that because I know I'm not going to like that. I watched Mad Max Fury Road because I was like, I think that I've heard nothing awful about this movie. I know it's an artistic masterpiece. I will go watch this for the art and sit through the parts that I know I'm not going to probably enjoy, but I still enjoyed those parts.
I just want to
this
counter.
is a
I want to
movie-
counter your thing with just saying, blind heavy metal flame throwing guitar player.
Yeah.
That's your scene
Okay.
transition, and it fucking rules. That's besides the point.
All right.
It's pretty goddamn
I-
awesome.
I don't know if I had been desensitized because I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it like
True.
a year and a half later. So
Yes.
I don't know if I had already been desensitized to that, but it wasn't something that like, oh my goodness, that's so cool for me. It wasn't a wow, dude.
That's very true. Fusion said it made a fun Rick and Morty episode. Like if you didn't see it in the moment, it became such a pop culture thing that you really
Yeah.
couldn't divorce it from that. Kind of like
Yeah.
Star Wars. Star Wars
Mhm.
is this thing where you can't divorce it from everything and just go in blind. Not really.
Yeah.
You can get close,
does-
like what you did
it
with the
doesn't-
trailers.
Yeah, it doesn't
But-
matter who you are now. If you go back and watch an old, you know that Darth Vader's his father. Like,
Yeah, like you can't divorce these things, like the twists in the end of the Harry Potter stuff, like with Dumbledore and Snape.
right.
It's just you can't escape it, and that's where I think you did miss out not seeing it in like on a awesome 4K HDR display at
hmm
in a theater. Like I did, I saw it in LDX with Joey opening night, packed theater. I will say, for being in the middle of fucking nowhere in Iowa, we have a really good theater that gets a lot of audience for sci-fi and action movies. It's kind of crazy because they have a really active gaming community. Like you have to have reservations like months in advance to get in on some of their game nights and stuff. It's crazy.
Gotcha.
And they run those theaters and they run those screenings, those midnight showings, those very early Thursday night showings in conjunction, and like do trivia and games and like give away stuff at the movie, which is crazy. And so that's part of where that experience comes from with me, is that we have a really good like audience, and I don't know the people by name, but I like, oh, you've seen you at this movie and this movie, and I live an hour the fuck away
Yeah,
and see him at every screening, which is really cool.
that's really cool. Sucks that you have to drive an hour for a movie.
It does, because the theater that's half hour closer, half hour one way closer, sucks and is run by a super right wing idiot. But whatever.
But that's beside the point.
Plus, they have heated seats and assigned seating and awesome 4K HDR displays and great
Ooh, that's
THX
nice.
sound. And it's not the best theater ever. It's not Dolby Atmos, but it's damn
the
good.
best for Iowa.
It's one of the best. I think it's the second best screen in the state.
Oh dang. Okay.
Yeah, the other one is a 4K Draft House, which is like, oh my god, I wish I lived in Des Moines. So I'd be there every Friday. Period. But anyway, that's our number. That's number 2. It's time. It's time for the big one. Chris, what is your favorite movie of the last decade?
I'm not even going to joke about this. A lot of people know I love this movie. It is not only my favorite movie of the decade, it fights for my favorite movie of all time.
Damn.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
I
excellent choice.
cannot get over the fact I'm literally, so we're about to play some games after this. I'm leaving around 10:15 ish, so I can set up so that when it hits midnight, I'm watching the movie and he's jumping off the
Oh,
building. I'm
that's
setting it
amazing.
up so I hit that exactly. So, but this movie blends everything that I love. It's crazy how this is the only animated film that I have on my list, because I love animated films. I could have put Moana or Zootopia. Brave was in here, Tangled, Wreck-It Ralph, Monsters University. I could have put any of those on this list. But Spider-Verse is just one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. I love the animation style. I literally watched a Corridor Digital video today that talked about the animation styles. And there's an animation scene where Miles Morales and Peter Parker are swinging through the trees for the first time. They did a thing where, because Peter Parker is already well versed in being Spider-Man, they animated him as a 24 frame per second animation. So they animated each frame essentially. With Miles Morales, because he was learning, they animated him every other frame. So they animated him on the 2s. And by the end of the movie, Miles Morales is animated every. That's the kind of art and beauty that needs to go into these animated movies. I don't want emoji movies. I don't want baby whatever that thing was. Alec, whatever is crap. Alec,
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Boss Baby.
Yeah, Boss Baby. I don't want that. I want Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where they take this movie was up to comic code. It was so good. They literally did every single frame to make it look like a panel in a comic book. It is so good. I like I cannot say anything bad about this movie. They had the perfect cast. They had the perfect people with passion to animate this, to put a score to it, to put a soundtrack to it, to color and texture everything. Like it's just the him standing in front of the window and you hear the words look out whispered everywhere, and then he's kind of like, what? And then a giant word, look out, goes on the window and something crashes through. That is one of the most beautiful ways of doing spider sense that I've ever seen, and I don't think anything is going to live up to this movie ever.
You mean the
Like
Peter
when it
tickle?
comes to animation. This movie, I am scared for the sequel because I don't know if it can live up to how perfect this movie is.
Anthology
just-
sequel, focus on Gwen.
Well, they're probably going to focus on. They're probably still going to focus on Miles Morales, but they're going to have Gwen there too because Oscar Isaacs, what was him?
Yeah, he was the
Spider-Man
2099.
2099. Yeah, he's going to bring them together somehow for something, and I'm so excited for that. But I cannot put this like between my number 1 and number 2. Like 2 through 9, I was thinking about where should I put these. Number 1 was never in question. Never in question.
That's what you want out of a number 1 movie. And this is for me where I got in trouble because like my 1 and 2 are so close.
See, you're questioning.
But again, it's one of those like they're both deserving. So
And I'm excited because I have no idea what this is.
So as you can see on my list, there's a lot of sci-fi. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of Western. R, some not R. You know, like there's a lot of similar themes like awesome cinematography or choreography. What is one of the franchises, and maybe the only franchise that has all of them, after J.J. Abrams restarted the franchise?
Yes. Dude,
What
JJ's
movie
on
is
this
that
list
one?
So many. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm talking about Mission Impossible Fallout.
So good.
It was so goddamn close. Like I was literally going like, am I going to have Mission Impossible on this list twice? Because Rogue Nation and Fallout are Infinity War and Endgame of spy movies.
They really are.
It's insane. Like, and we were like you just mentioned, it's crazy how much of an effect J.J. Abrams has had on the last decade and a half.
Yeah.
Of movies and TV. It's if you have to have him on the most influential. Restarted
Yeah,
Mission Impossible, Star Wars, Star Trek, tons of TV shows. Like the guy's everywhere, and he finished a trilogy too now. Like he's gonna make like 2 of the top, grossing movies. And Mission Impossible is one of my favorite franchises since Abrams rebirthed it with Mission Impossible 3. 4 was really good, wasn't quite where I wanted it to be, and then 5 is my other oh fuck trailer. This thing's amazing. The Ready or Not, Here I Come remix is like a 70s pop song, I think. And how they remix it into this being like dark synth track with the original vocals, I get goosebumps every time. It's an amazing trailer, and Tom Cruise consistently brings it. The stunts are amazing. He does fucking the
Halo jump.
the Halo jump, and then the climbing the rope up to the helicopter. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh my god,
yeah.
your heart's going a fucking mile a minute. And they just do such an amazing job of you're literally just watching a guy hang. His life is in the balance every time the camera's on him.
I mean, the next movie, they're just literally going to kill him and have to back to life. Like,
Yeah, and
that's
it's going to
his
be the most
stuff.
riveting thing you've ever seen,
Yeah.
right? Like
And you're gonna be like, how did they do that? They
like-
did it.
and it's sometimes super cheesy. Like when they bring in the Mission Impossible theme, it's cheesy.
Mhm.
Alec Baldwin, his role in this one, really cheesy. But also when the turn happens with him, really heartfelt. Like in a way that very few franchises earn that heartfelt moment of either a character dying or leaving or coming back. Like it takes a lot to get to those moments and make them matter.
Yeah.
And another one that similarly does that in terms of its peak, it's not doing it anymore, is the Fast and Furious franchise, which has fallen off. Whereas Mission Impossible is only still ascending, and he's got
Yeah.
2 more. And I think he's bringing in, was it Haley Atwell is going to be in the next 2?
Are you serious?
Yeah, What
Peggy Carter?
Yes, and it's still
Yes.
coming from Christopher McQuarrie. That dude, his career is amazing, and I think he's going to be one of those next everybody knows his name directors, because a lot of people already do. His social media is amazing, by the way. You got to follow him. He's awesome because he's like a less snarky Ryan Johnson, and like he
Okay.
really gets into the nitty gritty of like how things work on production. Because he wrote a ton of movies before he started directing, and now he's writing and directing, and he's amazing at it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're filming 7 to 8 back to back to take advantage of Cruise before his body destroys itself.
Yeah.
Like they used the take where he breaks his ankle on a jump, and it's
Oh, that's right.
like when he's jumping between buildings, snap the ankle. You see it go. You see his face, and then how they blend that cut to him standing up and running is incredible.
Yeah.
Like they don't miss a beat. It just constantly keeps going. Like I brought up Dennis Villanueva, like the slow burn tension. Mission Impossible is kind of like that, but they start with the bomb having exploded,
Yeah.
and then it's just a
Yeah.
chain reaction
I
of
mean-
explosions.
It's kind of like what they do at the beginning of every single movie. Like at the beginning of the first Mission Impossible, isn't it literally you're following a
Yeah,
line
the fuse. Like
of
they use the
something?
fuse
Yeah.
for the credits, and it's so old school how they do credits. It's so 70s based on the show how they do credits, and it's super
So
cheese,
good.
but it's so fucking.
It's what you
good.
want out of them. You get
Exactly.
exactly what you want out of those movies.
And I haven't even touched on the fact that Henry Cavill, that movie, like after Justice League, this movie put him back on he's everybody's golden boy again. And Justice
And
League
then The
fucking
Witcher
sucked.
happened.
And now The Witcher's happened, and he's, again, still ascending,
Yeah.
which is why DC fucking re-up his contract and give the motherfucker a Superman movie. Are you fucking insane? God, he seriously wants to be Superman. Just give him a Superman movie. Find him a director and just do it. But whatever. And he's an amazing villain. God, the mustache is amazing.
Dude,
It's as good in
and
this to make up for how bad Justice League was.
This is how impactful he was in that movie. Anytime I think of a fight scene, I always think of him
The arm guns.
of whatever character I'm thinking of, just like cocking the arm guns and just going for it.
It's so
I
dumb.
love it.
It's so dumb, so cheesy, and
It's
you're
dumb, but it's
enthralled.
great.
You're enthralled by
Yeah.
everything you're seeing, and I love it.
Oh.
Also, Vanessa Kirby as the main villains, the third party weapons dealer in the first movie.
Yes.
That's her daughter.
You serious?
Yeah, that's her daughter, and it's Vanessa Kirby, who's another one of those ascending stars, which means she's probably going to be in the next
Awesome.
two. Just like just the culmination of the cast, the crew, the writing, the direction, where the movies are going from where the previous ones set them up. It's one of the coolest franchises there is right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where it toyed with me. Like, do I go with the semi-standalone Fury Road? It's technically a Mad Max movie, but it's also really not because it's its own thing. Doesn't really talk about the other ones. Or do I go with the franchise movie? Which I know people harp on franchises and IP being, not what it was, and there's not a lot of original movies. But fuck, when the IP is this good and executed this good, how do you not love it? It's
Like
it
literally
blows
out
my
of
mind.
Out of six movies, there's one dud.
Yeah, and the rest are either
One.
good to damn near perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I need to watch that movie again.
It's crazy, and Rogue Nation is just as good. Like,
Yeah, it
Rogue
really
Nation is a little more building the team kind of heist movie-ish. Not really, but like there's some character dynamics that they're still like piecing together everything. Like putting the puzzle pieces together, whereas
Yeah.
Fallout is kind of more all payoff, more or less, and
Is
dealing
Rogue
with
Nation-
the fallout.
Yeah. Is Rogue
Yeah.
Nation the one where he goes underwater in that spinny thing?
Yes, into the tank
Yes.
and
I
the
couldn't remember
cooling
if that was
system.
Rogue One or
Rogue
Rogue
Nation,
Nation or-
and this one again because the villain is the same. It's the same bad guy.
yeah.
They're very intrinsically linked, like Infinity War and Endgame.
So good.
But Rogue Nation does not have the downer that Infinity War does. It's not really a cliffhanger at all. Actually, they win, and
Yeah.
they win the day, and it's awesome. Cue the Mission Impossible theme. It's amazing. Then you turn it on its head, and maybe they didn't win. and it gets crazy. And I just love every goddamn minute of that movie. I've watched it 3
Yeah.
times, twice in theaters and once at my sister's, on our shitty ass TV, and it was still awesome. Still awesome.
It's a real good movie. That's up there for mentions for me for sure.
Yep. So speaking of honorable mentions, guys in the chat, we're going to be going through the 1 through 10 list for you guys here in a very close second. I only have 4 movies really to get through on my honorable mentions that we didn't really mention so far. Because we've talked about some others, like Rogue Nation is on my honorable mention. We talked, Chris, you had Avengers on your list. That's in mine. My other, to invert where we were in this selection, my other honorable mentions to go with a comedy. I toyed with putting The Other Guys because it's a perfect modern comedy.
It is.
It's
one of
maybe
those,
Will
like,
Ferrell's best
yeah.
movie, Mark Wahlberg's
Agreed.
best movie as a comedic part because it's way better than Ted. And
Well, you didn't like him in his comedic part in Transformers.
no, and Adam McKay at his best as a comedic storyteller, not doing mockumentary satire comedy. Like it's a strict comedy. Like Samuel L. Jackson and Dwayne Johnson are in the movie in the beginning, and how they go out. And fucking Michael Keaton is a running through line with the TLC lyrics.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck? You just
Don't
can't
go
help but
taking
laugh at this
waterfalls.
movie. Like, it's just like, hey, could you believe where you'd
really
be in your
good.
career if you hadn't shot Derek Jeter? It's such a product of its time because it's 2010. I think it's 2010.
Yeah.
Fuck, is it good?
It is really good.
And man, my list really does not have a lot of comedies, unfortunately. But that is one of the comedies. And the other movie, another sci-fi action movie, another Tom Cruise sci-fi action movie,
I see
Edge
it
of Tomorrow.
there. So that movie, if you're a video gamer, that is the perfect movie for you.
Yep.
It's just a video game and a movie, and it's
Yeah.
done perfectly.
Yeah. And not some shittily tacked together first person campaign like what I just played through in Battlefront 2. No. It's an
Yeah.
epic time bending, reset the day, Majora's Mask type stuff
Yeah.
with Tom
Really
Cruise
good.
and Emily Blunt being
That's
amazing
the
Hollywood
movie-
A-listers, and I fucking love it.
That's the movie that put Emily Blunt on the list for me,
Hell yeah!
or like
I
on my radar.
after that movie, I'm like, okay, if they do Captain Marvel and she's not Captain Marvel, I'm gonna be pissed. I was a little miffed that they went with Brie Larson, but damn, she was great. Emily
Mm.
Blunt would have been damn near perfect.
Speaking of Emily Blunt, one of my movies.
When she does the push up in the movie, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, what
shit.
was it like? Oh,
It's fantastic. That, by the
there's
way,
cream in the walls.
Jared, you have to watch that movie. It's the most underrated movie on my list outside of Dread.
Oh yeah.
So I'll say that.
Speaking of Emily Blunt, though, her and her husband
Yes.
did a fantastic job with A Quiet Place.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. I only saw it for the first time, but dear goodness, if that isn't like a gray level
Yeah.
character development, and there is a sound editing thing that they do in that movie that I love. I love how they did it. I'm not going to talk about it because it's kind of like a big part of the movie. But it is a beautiful, beautiful piece of cinema. It's horror suspense. If you can get past it, it's incredible. It's like Arrival meets The Gray, in my opinion.
Well played.
It's got that kind of level to it.
It's one of those movies where you really do. You watch it in the dark. You don't run the dishwasher. You do not run your washer and dryer. You have it be as quiet as you fucking can in that house.
Yeah.
When you watch that
Mhm.
movie, get yourself in that zone. It is
Yeah.
definitely one of those you have to watch it in the right atmosphere movies for it to. It's good anyway, but when you watch it in the right atmosphere, it takes on a whole other life. It's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, anything else for your honorable mention?
We talked about How to Train Your Dragon.
A little bit, yeah.
Ooh.
The scene where his dad dies. Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Another, and that scene is right after they do the whole wedding. Too.
Yeah, it's such like they dance, and then the bad
I
guys show
love
up.
that
The
movie.
dragon turns, and then the dragon kills his dad,
Oh.
and he sacrifices himself to save his son.
Oh, I love it.
Right after they reconnected, it's just such a knife right to the heart moment.
Yeah. But one of the movies that I totally forgot about until we were literally talking in this entire time, I remembered it. Another movie that made 2016 so good for movies, The Accountant. Did you ever see that?
I did not, but I know what you're talking
Really
about.
good movie. Ben Affleck, The Accountant. There's
John Bernthal is the guy who fights
Oh, yeah,
Batman, fights the
yeah.
Punisher.
And John Lithgow,
Mhm.
and who's J.J. Simmons?
I think so. That sounds right. He's
J.K.
the
Simmons.
investigator.
Yeah. That is a great movie. I haven't seen it in a while, so I can't remember all. Oh, Anna Kendrick's in it?
Yeah, she's the love interest, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Kind of.
yeah. There's not really a love interest.
Or no, she's the outside perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what she is.
But yeah, really, really good movie. I love that movie. I think everybody should anything that we talked about on this list, you should watch. Like, I haven't seen Dread. I'm gonna go watch Dread. What was the other
Mhm.
one that I haven't seen that you had said?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
If you liked Arrival, it's from the same director. You'd love this movie.
Also, just other animated movies that I loved. Megamind, totally underrated.
Super
Way better than
underrated.
Despicable Me.
Will Ferrell is amazing. Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt doing voiceover.
Tina
What?
Fey.
Crazy.
And then Adventures of Tintin.
Never saw that one.
That's an animated Indiana Jones.
I'll have to check it out.
They need to make more.
I can't believe none of us put this on our honorable mention, so I'm making the audible.
Okay.
Pacific Rim.
Oh, heck yeah.
It's the best use of scale in a robot movie, in a mech movie, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
The use of scale. And yeah, it's nighttime fighting, but he didn't have the budget that we think he did because he used it effectively. And
Yeah.
the fight scenes are amazing. He fucking uses
My
the
goodness.
ship as a fucking katana. Oh, holy shit. The soundtrack too, Ramin Djawadi. This was before Ramin Djawadi was like the dude in soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like he was coming off 2008 doing Iron Man. He did the first Iron Man soundtrack, which they never used his theme again until fucking Endgame.
Really?
What? Yeah, they seriously did not
I
use Ramin
love that
Djawadi's
theme.
Endgame theme. I don't know why. They just didn't. It was dope. And then he does TV. Did like 3 TV shows, one of them being one of my favorites, Person of Interest. Moves into Pacific Rim, which he did the guitar, gave the guitar parts to the lead guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, which was awesome.
That's awesome.
And then he moves on to Game of Thrones. Like,
Oh, really?
crazy.
I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, he was the main guy for the whole thing of Game of Thrones. And he's a really good composer. That soundtrack is awesome. It does not get enough credit.
No, it doesn't. And then they went and made a dumb sequel.
Yep. So our honorable mentions are done. So chat. Now's the time. What is your top 10? You can format it. If you can format it enough that it's legible for us while we are... Ooh, Jaren linked it. Oh, you gotta ask for permission.
Get wrecked, Jaren.
Okay. And you don't have to give us a link. You can put it in chat. Top 10 movies of the decade is well, you just came in on the tail end of it. So I'm gonna give our outro while you guys format your responses to what is your top 10 movies of 2010 to 2019. And if you don't have 10, that's fine. Doesn't have to be 10. If thanks to everyone for watching, this is the end of part 1. We're going to maybe have a bit of a part 2 where we go through audience favorite movies, and then maybe we talk about our favorite shows and games, which is a more freeform conversation because they're more spread out, given that some games take a couple 100 hours to get through in their entirety. So it's a fewer and far between discussion. So, and Chris doesn't watch a lot of TV. So thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, head over to our Twitch channel. The link's below. Give me a follow there. Give Chris a follow on his, and of course subscribe here on YouTube. And we'll see you hopefully more throughout 2020. Bye.